him. We were so proud of him.
It was.
Six o'clock.
6
Oh,
o'clock.
6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, any changes for the agenda?
Other than the typo, it shouldn't say agendas, it should just say agenda. Gee. Nope,
We'll strike that.
okay.
Alright, did everybody have a chance to read through, the regular board meeting minutes from June 8th? Do I have a motion to approve, board meeting minutes from June 8th?
I'll make a motion.
Billy has a first, do I have a second?
A second.
Sarah seconds. Public comment, board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Did you guys have a chance to look over the warrants, through today? Do I have a motion to approve the warrants through 7/13?
Motion to approve the warrants through July 13th.
Okay, Julie has a first, do I have a second?
Second.
Billy has seconds. Yes, you are public comment?
There isn't any on there, nope.
More comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Right now, public comment for the board. Any communications?
Nope.
Perfect. Student rep report? No. Staff rep report?
In June, we had 4 of our staff go to Bozeman for the Montana REACH grant and attended an all-day seminar in mostly assessment and progress monitoring, and it was really useful and fun, and we learned a lot, and we're ready to go forward, so we're excited for the upcoming year, and I know we received some curriculum that they need to come back and unpack and get distributed, but yeah, just looking forward to a good year.
Awesome. Thank you. PTSO report?
We sold fireworks. Did pretty well. I don't have any of the final numbers, but I think we did better than last year in terms of sales. We did sell out of some stuff, which was good, cause a lot of the stuff we sold out of was left over from the year before. As always, we always need more volunteers. That's about it. Oh, and all of the vendors, where the fireworks stand is parked between the Powerhouse and the Hippie, all of the other vendors that were there, paid a fee, and then the 2 businesses, donated all of that money, so it was split between PTSO and the fire department. And so I think our half was like $225.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any report? No, perfect.
Claire can't be here tonight, so she provided one. So she attended the Class C caucus and buildings, I think, and really good for Claire to do. And Arbiter, in which we use for all sorts of things, but particularly like referee assignments and things like that. So that all got fixed, I think with her taking it over, but I think she just kind of just axed the last one and just started her own so that it kind of makes sense to her. So it does all the coaching classes that they have to stay updated and the referees and stuff like that. She also came back and we chatted about it. We'll chat about it later in the meeting. Is that most districts, and in fact, we might be the only one that doesn't have one in our district, has a coaching advisory handbook. So I kind of suggested that she and I get together and present one to you guys next month, at least get one up and going. It might be kind of a little bit benign, vanilla the first year, but at least it'll get something up off the ground. Included within that is we are required to have an emergency plan, which is kind of cool, and I kind of like it. She came back and went over it. But before each contest, either she or I would meet with the referees and both sets of coaches and go over like where the AED is, where the AD or in the school administration, where we'll tend to be at all times, if something occurs, and just to kind of, and I like that. We communicate stuff, that now is gonna be a requirement, so I thought that was kind of cool. Homecoming tentatively September 14th through the 19th. Volleyball schedule is done. Here's the problem, and she and I were really working on football. I don't think I throw in too many selfish things, but I go, hey Claire, if we have a PIR day during the day on a Friday, I would love it if we had a home football game that night, because hey, I'm here, and for sure. And so she arranged it, which I really appreciated. And then remember how we shifted, and then we threw the PIR day now in October. And she looks at me, she goes, well, yeah, you did that because I go, oh, the staff will be bummed about working 2 Fridays in a row. And so I'd probably be nice. She goes, well, you just blew the PIR thing, because that's an away game. Dang it. But all of that's out the window anyway, because Alberton doesn't have a football team this year. And so there is somebody, some Class C guy out there trying to make it so that everybody gets enough games. Because we went from, I think 9 down to 7 games. And in Alberton, we're kind of probably gonna be rebuilding. Probably was gonna be a good game for us. I was surprised because they had a lot of players that went to the game over in Alberton last year, and a lot of young players. And it's like, gosh, a couple years are gonna be good. And but anyway, so they're now scrapping everything and going to then, if you guys can't figure out your schedule, we'll do it for you, kind of thing. And so that kind of threw a big wrench in the plan. So that's her.
Okay, so it's been a busy month. So Bridge Health Alliance, it went into effect July 1st, for all employees here. And we received our new medical cards and dental cards just prior to that. And so far so good. It seems like everyone's happy with it. And some prices seem to be a little bit less, so that's a good thing. And then continue to work with Carol on the budget. So we just closed out the year, and so what happens next is that we wait for the treasurer to send us our our month report so we can balance, and then we can officially be closed. And then we'll take that information and then work on the current budget for 26-27, which we'll present to you guys in August, along with the trustees' financial summary. And so I'm still learning how to do that. So Carol's going to be working with me closely on that. So more to come, in August. And then let's see. I'm going to be attending a webinar for the TFS and the budget this Wednesday and Thursday. And then I attended the bus routes transportation meeting with the county superintendent. So we got the bus routes approved, which is good. And then I'll be working with Doug and Lori on the bus inspections, and then all the drivers will be getting their first aid training on the 20th, the first PIR day in August. So we'll be all in the same cycle, which is great. And then all the classified and certified staff and coaches got their contracts mainly, and then we just updated the last 2. So I think we're good to go. I think we have a couple that you're getting approved tonight, right? And then traffic education, we had all of our documents submitted to motor vehicles, and everything's good to go. So kids should be on their way, which is nice. And then Sarah and I attended the week MASBO conference, and we learned a lot. Although it just makes me think of how much I still don't know about this job, and there's still a lot to learn. But only time will help, I guess. And then we have the sewer board election on the 21st of July, which it's a mail-only election, but we're gonna be open to accept ballots for people, you know, that have trouble getting down to the county and stuff, or forget to mail them. So we'll be open, I think, from 8 until 8 that night. And I think Connor from the elections office is gonna get some election judges up here to be with me, so it'll be me plus 2 other people, just for, you know, ballots, you know, security and stuff like that. And that's all I have for you.
I didn't get it out.
Well, you have to be within, yeah, within the sewer district.
I would like a
But-
ballot, please.
But I think you
In the
can.
future, if one of you is elected as a voting representative for the bank, I did see that you could do that for like organizations that own property in
The
the district,
school?
they can
No, I don't
elect like a voting representative for.
Brenna should be able to vote.
I was gonna say.
I'll vote for you.
You could, you
Well, I
could
think
vote
it
for
has
the
to be the
school.
individual, yeah, it has to be your.
Cause the school technically should have a representative,
Yeah, but I think it's like people who yeah,
cause like even for my, it's not my personal home, it's just my building, is the only reason I do it.
On the rocks.
yeah, I don't know. I
But
haven't
there's
seen
on
one.
that same,
No,
on that same
That's
form.
good, that's a great question. I didn't even
So
know.
like Olivia lives, her mailing address for her residence is outside the district, but she owns property within, you fill out a certain form to send in to request a ballot, and on there it talks about, a voting delegate for businesses like the bank or the school or
Oh,
whatever.
really?
The school being a
Just
government
FYI.
owned can.
Yeah, I don't know about that,
It's a good question,
don't know.
but
I'll look into it, I'll ask Suzie, cause she had forms for that.
I don't know, the thing that the school district gets squared away, I'll have nothing to read on Facebook at lunchtime.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't wanna be bored.
Yeah. So yeah, Darcy said that, the first thing I thought of was, is somebody gonna be, you know, cause, wanna make sure somebody's here.
Yeah.
Get some people here trying to intimidate the voters.
No, that, yeah, that can't happen.
I'll help. Sarah and I will be here.
we'll be
I'll call you
bouncers.
guys.
Yeah.
Anything else? You good?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work this last month.
Yeah.
I know you've been busy. Superintendent.
I got a couple things, and I don't even think Darcy knows this, so I don't wanna throw her off. But, we do have a desktop audit, in which somebody at OPI looks at our Title I, so,
And when is that taking place?
it's in the fall, so it's, I got like notified like in May,
I can just
and I
name
go,
all of
I
them.
go, really, you expect me to deal with this now? And it's just, I read it and it's just, you know, they're great, you ask them and like, okay, what can we do better and stuff like that, so I'm not, but I do have to worry about it, and no, you don't, I'll take it, so, yes, I do love Darcy, but the problem is being new to schools is, you just don't know how to prioritize yet, you know, it takes a while to, you know, everything is of equal importance, and she does a great job, but it's tough, so. Anyway, also, we'll have our full accreditation this year, and, woohoo, I was glad it didn't happen last year. We did have some of the accreditation that was just the standard kind of upkeep, of stuff, so I look at this binder and like, it's pretty intimidating, but then I realized Kathy copied off everything, and it's really just, like these thick reports that, you know, is available online and stuff, so, but yeah, I do believe I'll be learning lots about that this year, because that will be modest. Staffing, you know, we posted, hey guys, we're gonna consolidate from 1 resource teacher, 2 to 1 resource teachers. I really believe we need to add an aide, so basically go from 3 to back to 4. But we did receive some resignations, so we went from needing 1 to needing 3. So probably when I kind of took a break and came back early last week, that was my number 1 thing, but I'm feeling better about it because we've got some good applicants, and met with Sandra a few times, and so feeling better about that. We will have need before the next board meeting to have our bus transportation negotiations. And, Lori told me that typically 2 board members are there. I wasn't used to it and kind of caught off guard, last year, so I would like to make sure that we follow that, obviously, if you mind. And, are all of you open for me to say, hey, are you guys available to come negotiate? Okay, Doug and Lori? Okay. Cause yeah, I'd like to do that, so that's passed before,
In August.
we start. And then, couple questions got brought up, and, I just wanted to clarify, those, and I didn't mean for it, and if the communication was poor on my end, you know, I'll own it, but, when our classified folks don't have a contract, they're not formally represented. So I met with them, and I got, thank you, Tom, no one's ever done this before, but I kind of went step by step, and just because I think it's good practice, typically I, where applicable, I use our teacher's contract to say this is the way we should kind of do things, but it's really not necessarily outlined anywhere. But I did, because both certificated and classified groups kind of got hit by a few things last year that, like, whoa, I've never dealt with that in 35 years, but and it was a minority, a dramatic minority, like very few individuals. I'll just take unpaid leave, and that was like, whoa. We have nothing in our contract that allows me to approve it or not approve it. We do, and the teachers have a leave of absence, and that goes through you guys. So when folks run out of paid time off status, teachers, that would be personal and sick, classified, that'd be vacation and sick. And we kind of combine those two, so if somebody's sick, they can use personal days to do that. I'll just take, because that's been, and it's just been allowed. Well, we did formally work on the catastrophic leave policy, and that's in our master contract now. And along with that, I kind of explained, hey, look, it's not as though it's gonna, you can't do it, but it does have to go to the board for just, I can just choose to do this, because I'm approving things that you have not given me the okay to approve, because that's really a leave of absence. And so, like, for example, a teacher accrues a bunch of time and has a kid, and they ballpark it out so that they can have the kid start, like a week before having the due date, have the kid, and then get all summer. I mean, some of really, my niece and nephew, or my nephew and his wife, I mean, they hit it within a day, and they're both teachers and stuff. So great, good for you. And so, but let's say one of them does it, but then the, knucklehead decides to come out 2 months early. They would exhaust all of their time, and then we would have no legal way to pay them anymore, and there might be 2 weeks left in school. That would be a great example of, and I wouldn't even make them sit in front of you guys. I just might make them, hey, guys submitted a letter, and you still get your job back, but we just can't pay you. That'd be unpaid time off. That would be an example there and stuff. But I'm not a huge fan, though, of taking time for this, and then expecting to go on a week vacation. It just, I think that sits wrong, especially in our business of we get pretty good chunks of time off and stuff. So, I thought I went over, I think, like, when you have a formal negotiating group, you're forced to go over it, like, beat it with a stick. But with the classified, maybe I didn't go over that, because I go, it still might be available. I'm just making sure that we follow the correct process moving forward. So I just wanted to clear that up. Connex box hopefully will be on the ground, if not next week, the following week. And we'll get a specific date before Thursday so that we can communicate it. Derek and Tabor and the student helper have been over there kind of prepping, and it looks really nice. They've done a nice job. They've had some fill brought in, and Derek's hoping it'll rain. If not, the fire truck will get out there. Kind of do it. So anyway, looking forward to the beginning of the year. Kind of go standard stuff. Get out some letters to folks. Big changes will be, yes, that consolidation of our special ed supporting Sarah, Sandra, and also that 6-7 split and trying to make sure because, we'll run into some snags and we have to be prepared for it and do a good job with that. That's all I got. Oh, sorry. The Square Body Auto Show. Okay, we did get a communication, a public records request. I felt that it was pretty benign, but you get that, people kind of throw that on, we're not gonna public record. Everything we do is public, so it's usually like, hey, look, it's, it would be in it. So, there was a question regarding donations to the school based upon that entity, and I just replied back for the last 2 years. I go, to date, we've received no donations. Doesn't mean we couldn't get an anonymous one that came from there, we just wouldn't know it, because we would have no record of that. So I did reply back with that, but I found that interesting, and I'm not saying anything untoward or our name was used, poorly, but, that's why we try to track fundraisers really closely, because you can fundraise and, not necessarily get it to where it goes. So I did respond on that. To date, we have received no donations pertaining to that event. I didn't use any names or, so. That's it.
Just odd.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
It was a letter
Yeah.
Okay,
that
what's
came.
this about?
Yeah.
So,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Any facilities report?
we're gonna talk about later in the agenda.
Okay.
I have agenda item.
Oh, starting off strong. All right, did you guys get a chance to look over Kaylin?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a motion to approve Kaylin Mangel's, resignation?
I'll make a motion to approve Caitlin Mangel's resignation.
Sarah has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds, public comment? Full comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Do I have a motion to approve Linnell Story's, resignation?
I'll make a motion to approve Linnell Story's resignation.
Olivia has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds, public comment, or comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And then do I have a motion to approve Peyton Peterson's resignation from junior high track?
I'll make a motion to approve Peyton Pearson's resignation from junior high track.
All right, Sarah has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Julie has a second.
All day.
Any board help? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Lorraine OC, your initials, like I need it. I meant OD, that's okay. All right, for coach hires, do I have a motion to approve John Beckman for the head high school track?
Motion to approve John Beckman for the head high school track.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds, public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And I have a motion to approve Claire Peterson as assistant high school track. Coach.
Motion to approve Claire Peterson as assistant high school track coach.
Who goes first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Maybe a second, public comment? Board comment?
So, with coaching positions, did they approve you?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright, motion carried. Go for it.
Fall, we are still looking for an assistant football coach, so that's it. And we would still have junior high track coaching positions open. off the top of my head without checking Claire, that's where we're at. So.
Alright, perfect. Facilities regarding renovation.
Okay, I put this on, for discussion, cause I wanna kind of bring it back, finish out the school year, and I've had a couple chats with Terry from Billings who, worked with the school from JGA on those original, mock-ups over on the school trust land. They submitted, all the preliminary work, to one, look at what, consulting, let's look at, this place, what do we need to do? We also have another, company that's looking at that too, because they would like this, they only do renovations. And then also what it would look like, preliminary and stuff if we were going new. And we saw a price tag of about $50,000. And I just want you guys thinking and discuss it now all we want, but just be thinking. It's a lot of money, and stuff. So I want you to think about this but just tell me if I'm crazy or not. But I'd like to burn the bridge on renovating this place and focus on the new. Cause I talked to Terry and I just go, if we just focused on you helping us get off the ground to look at a new facility, would that $50,000 price tag, would it be cut in half because you'd be working on that? And he almost kind of indicated it'd be more than half because here they kind of have to dive into things and there it's just new construction, and stuff like that. So anyway, we could pay that, but really if our desire is to explore new, why would we pay to then explore renovating? I don't know. And cause, Julie and Sarah, were you here when we met with Terry and his other representatives? What two folks were here? And so, Terry hadn't been here since 2000, and he was really, cause the other architect that they're doing a lot of work with, hey, Tom, Derek, could I get a tour of the facility after we had met? And Terry goes, gosh, I didn't really think I needed to, but I'm so glad I looked, cause you guys have done nothing. and also Carol and Darcy and I met last week just to, closing the books, looking at next year, and so I finally have to bring it up, and Carol's eyes get wide because she's not here, and having these discussions on a regular basis, and it's not in our budget for next year, but we could adjust the budget and get it in there. There are funds to do that, but we're still on a tight rope as far as what we can afford, and stuff like that. And Carol goes, in all my time, Tom, we've never done anything for maintenance, and it almost came out, but and I don't want Carol to take a critical error, but it was yeah, no kidding, but it's stuff. So I don't know. I just wanted you to think about it because we that was before us. Woohoo! That's a lot of money, and then kind of we need to do that to look if we're going to go out with some sort of measure to the community to help support that, and that would be a multi-phase thing and stuff like that. So I think it's time for us to kind of come up with more serious, we'd like to do this, which is this is what needs to happen here. A lot of folks talk about grants. Oh, just write a grant for that. Please find that for me, because I think there's a lot of grants to support a solar project. There's a lot of grants to support, a little add-ons here. I'm not seeing any when it comes to the community's responsibility to do major school. That's expected of the community and stuff. Is it gonna be a tough sell? 100%, yes. I think the school also has an excellent history of not asking for much very often and stuff, so. But I need to hand that discussion off to you guys. Just, that's why I wanted to start having that discussion, because, I also look at, anything we do renovating here, we do not solve our problem as far as we don't have gym.
And that 50,000 is basically just to look at it to.
Oh, I was looking at it today and I meant to, sorry, I spaced, I meant to print it off and hand it to you guys again, but, yeah, to break that down, cause I was just going, do we really wanna spend, $25,000-$30,000 if we're not that serious, if we really just wanna do that? I just kind of dawned on me, like, why would we do that if that's something? Hey, if we fail miserably going that direction, and sometimes you fail so you can succeed later. It's you look at that. So yes, Olivia, I'll ship it out to you guys again, because I brought it, but I'll try to forward that to you guys tomorrow, so you guys can look at that. So that's all I is please start looking at it, because it's when we met with the sculpture folks and we were working on that new agreement that we finally, they provided us with a 12-page draft of what they wanted it to say, and it was basically like, you can't be serious about, getting a new facility here, and like, they're saying, you can't even talk about it unless you have half the money available, and that's old history. That was pretty offensive for that to be, stated that way, but it was like, no, I think we're fairly serious. Whether if it doesn't happen for 10 years, fine, but at least you guys should be credited for getting it up off the ground now. That's all I had, was just whatever. I still wanna keep that on the front burner.
Yeah.
Perfect. Discuss and approve, move regular scheduled board meeting to Wednesday, August 12th.
Okay, this is 100% me asking you guys to do this. I had sent out a email, text you guys, asking for the 17th without checking with Darcy. Darcy has a 15th deadline that they need to, like our budget, some kind of big things like that. So great, Tom. Oops, I already. So, and really trying to avoid discussing this back and forth via emails. I just held off on it, but yes, my asking for it has not changed. I have the opportunity to get a trip on the road with my son, and if we could move our regular scheduled board meeting from Monday to Wednesday, I would love that.
Well, I did talk to Carol, just, time frame and everything that, and she said that she was thinking that it was okay, cause if we can get the budget approved and the TFS approved, then I can get that submitted, before the 15th. We have to get that signed by the superintendent, but if I feel like if I can give her a heads up, then she, probably give us pretty good turnaround on that, and then I can just get it submitted, so. Just let me know.
Any questions?
Any thought of doing it the week before?
Yeah, I'd have to find out to
When do
see if,
you leave for your trip?
Well, that did change, so, yeah,
You leave early though.
I will be driving back to Carport the night of the 4th, which is Tuesday. So yeah, I didn't ask for that because I didn't know how much time Darcy.
yeah, I'm not
did.
sure, I wouldn't be able to answer that right now, if we can get that done
Can we do like
before.
a Zoom if people can't be around?
We've done that in the past.
Well, I can always check with Carol to see if she thinks that we can get that done by the 4th. If you, and then get back to you guys.
It would be the
Oh, the 3rd, sorry, Monday the
Yeah.
3rd, yeah.
Which I might not be here then.
Okay.
But,
Can you do the 12th?
yeah,
Sarah, can you do the 12th?
but Julie will be out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The But that's what I was wondering, if we could even do a Zoom if people couldn't be around, since we're changing.
Or as long as we have 4 of us here for voting,
Yeah.
that's fine too.
As long as we don't have to vote on the bus route.
There's still 3,
No, but there's still 3 of us.
Yeah. just you 3 would have to be unanimous on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll do that.
I don't perceive anything hugely controversial, but you never know.
Well, just take one of you to disapprove, and then you'll throw the whole thing.
We're a pretty argumentative group.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. All right, so we're good to move forward with the the 12th? Okay.
Yeah. I would say so. But if we, I mean, if it came down to it and somebody couldn't be there and wanted to, we could do a Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we did that.
Okay.
All right, do you have a motion to move the regular scheduled board meeting, to Wednesday, August 12th?
I'll make a motion to move the regular scheduled board meeting to Wednesday, August 12th.
All right, I got a first from Olivia, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do I have a second? Public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. All right.
Thank you.
Continued contract with Carol Williams as mentor.
Carol's contract has been at $30 an hour, similar raise that everyone else was like $13.80 something, and so I just rounded up to 32. She's not received any sort of additional pay. She did not ask for that.
Mhm.
I'm willing to put that in there.
All right, do I have any discussion?
I'll just say one thing. So I guarantee you that it's a lot less moving forward than it, it seems like every week, it's just great to have her as that resource because she has that knowledge,
And utilize her.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
and she's so great. I mean, I could just send her one message, she'll just type the answer, it's like no questions asked.
Mhm.
And she just jots down the time that she's doing something. It's not
Yeah.
any,
Mhm.
so it's good.
Okay, Lawson. All right, do I have a motion to continue the contract of Carol Williams as mentor for district clerk for 32 an hour?
I'll make a motion to renew the contract for 32 an hour, Carol Williams.
I have a first from Billy, do I have a second?
Second.
Julie, second. Public comment? Board comment?
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. Health and safety. Do you have a?
I haven't, I got
Okay,
it, yeah.
perfect.
I'll get those all
It's like, do you want me to
drafted
tear this
So
one
sorry.
off?
No,
I can't.
yeah, no.
We knew that.
All right, handbooks?
Okay, just discussion, hopefully some movement next month on those. I put staff and coaching there, the first 2 bullets. But if you'd like anything specific, I'd like to look at staff because, but I think I can do it pretty quick. We have a master agreement with the teachers, so I don't necessarily think you have to have things in both places. Because last year I was going, okay, the master contract, because they didn't always align. So, but it is where I find things for classified that, like, the salary matrix that needs to be updated. But I think that could go pretty quick. As the coaching advisor one, we'll bring, like, we have some templates. We'll update it to what we have. But we did find this cool. We were at a meeting with the high school teachers, and it's just like, I always make fun of Quinn. Hopefully he didn't leave because I made fun of him. But he was just fun because he had these knucklehead freshmen, like these 4 boys who think they're going to Alaska for their senior trip. Okay, great guys. They have like no money and no scope of, but like we hand it off to Quinn, and like we don't really have, like, no offense to a bunch of moms, but an alpha mom in the room, to help drive it, and this is like, you guys think you're going where? But they're great kids, they're a lot of fun and stuff. But Quinn all of a sudden pops off in a meeting and goes, yeah, well, there's an advisor handbook, and several tenured teacher, Laura being one of them, goes, there is? It's just like, so we have these forums all over the place. So anyway, yeah, I think we can do some good things and add what we currently have and get that up, expectations and stuff. And things that are just, where's this defined, kids do a lot, and our community sports a lot too, but I think we have to, kind of keep things in, kind of checks and balances too. And include the coaching, with that and stuff. So those I'm pretty comfortable, but, anything you want, and just call me, cause I'll be working on that. Big one I wanna work on is the next few days, and I was kinda going, oh man, that's gonna be a lot, and it is and it isn't. We have these two, and they are, elementary is 27 pages, and 712 is 37 pages, and I think we can marry the two, and we can have a Lincoln, because I start going through and I go, it says the same thing, it says the same thing. Occasionally, there are playground rules. You don't see that in the, it's not emphasized here. And more often than not, extracurricular are emphasized here and stuff. Is it okay if I merge the two? Because I get confused on which one to look at. I will say this, I've read a few things, I didn't know we did that, because I really appreciate Kathy updated these when I was looking and I was interviewed in February. You guys didn't have them, that hadn't been updated in like 3 years. By the time Kathy left here, they were all updated, which is great. So since they were updated, I used them as a reference and I went to them for the need, but I didn't own it. Now I'm having to kind of like dive in, okay, it says it here, it says it here, and so yeah, so I'd like to do that, and I'd like you guys to check to make sure, just, hey, oh man, cause I might, trying to color code things so I don't miss anything. And so then, I kind of highlighted some things I want to make sure that the new one going forward has. One, I want to make sure that there's a pretty stout appendix section. And so like the high schools, I looked at like the 4th page is like the belt schedule. To me, that is appropriate for the appendix section, is to have high school and elementary and the master schedule for that year. So if it's a great year and we're really happy about it, and you're never perfectly happy about it, but at the end of the day, a lot of times, who's ever still around, only has to update the appendixes to make sure that they're current. That would be helpful. So I kind of made a list of, like the appendix also have forms, because we have conflicting forms out there, like, whoa. And then that's a place where it would go, and now we have a library of where all those things were, because Kathy and Shane were going off the fact that 5th and 6th graders were eligible for volleyball and basketball for the A and B team, the junior high teams. And but when Claire and I pulled the things out, the one we had says 4-6. And so then, then like, 5-6 ones was never board approved, but the 4-6 one was, but we had already put that out to parents, and I'm glad for it, got them started early, but, so we try to reduce those conflicts. No issues with it this year. Appreciate it. That says a lot about our students and parents, but that won't be true every year. Valedictorian selection, salutatorian selection. It's more on like, well, that's what we've always done, but it's not stated anywhere. It doesn't, some schools go off the first semester senior year. Some schools go off 3rd quarter. It appeared that the most common one was 3rd quarter. I like that because it keeps the kids performing at a certain level. It does require that the teacher make sure that that 3rd quarter grade stands up versus a semester grade. So that, what happens if there's a tie? In years past, you know, and I was chatting with someone, I go, where does it say that? You know, they looked at A minuses, but it doesn't say that, because an A minus, 91% versus a 99%, as far as GPA calculation, is the same thing. But if you can do it differently, you just have to define that, you know, and stuff. So, and like if there's a tie, there's a tie. There's nothing wrong with having codes, you know, but, so that's a big area that I wanna bring to you. And sure, like when I get to sit down and write it, it's loaded with my personal biases. I'm okay with you guys changing anything. I just wanna be comfortable when I'm sitting down with the kids and their parents, that, you know, it's clearly defined. One thing that got brought up, and I brought up last time, was, could a kid spend all summer, you know, taking, like, what kind of classes do we allow? I would like to see it something that you have to spend X amount of semesters as a Lincoln High School student to be, I wouldn't say 8 semesters, but, you know, at least 4, you know. When we transferred to the Idaho school, my oldest started his junior year, and they had a 4-semester requirement for salutatorian or valedictorian. He met that. He wouldn't have met that had, you know, he come in at semester break and stuff. So those are some things I think we could do a better job of just making sure this is what, you know, we do. I'm gonna kind of present to you something that we've done in the past, so it's not gonna be radical, it's not gonna change it for this year's seniors, but it's gonna be better if somebody wants to challenge it, that we have that in writing. Grades and eligibility, I'd like to talk about that, how we look at that. I do have an issue with if things are weighted in a certain way, the kids really, they're here every day, they're busting their butt, you know, and they fail one test and so they're ineligible, you know. It's just like, but I don't necessarily know legalities of things is because I don't wanna take the foot off the gas as far as holding kids accountable too. You know, it's a fine balance of you know, trying to work those things. Cell phones, teachers have requested that we have more of a school cell phone kind of thing. Not denying them having them, but we were having lunch after kids had left on the last day of school, and hey Tom, could we more have a, because like last year had I taught here, kids went to bed, their cell phones out in my room, ever. Guys, I support that. I encourage you to do that as a teacher. They shouldn't need to. They have, you know, they can look up stuff on their Chromebooks. They can look up, you know, why do they need that? And parents, please let us know if there's a family emergency, and we will always give you access to your kid, but we don't want class time, because you let it once, you let it twice, you just start to, and so they actually kind of said, hey, look, and I go, guys, great, I love it, but if we're gonna do it, we're all gonna do it. Don't, you know, nobody gets to be like the cool, nice guy, you know, that's not the way it works. And also eating in classrooms. It's just a few of our classrooms, first period, you know, became first 10 minutes of is breakfast. No. And I like the fact you can get your sack lunch, but it doesn't belong in first period. You know, can you take it to first period? Well, yeah, if your teacher wants you to come 10 minutes early, but you know, when the bell rings, we need to start. So those are just that was just penciling out things that I want to kind of really look at. But some of our grading stuff is probably the big items I want to kind of, you know, go after. And so that would not only be in the handbook, but it would also be in the extracurricular contract that would, you know, people would sign, a little bit of backup that you would see back in the appendixes as far as form, and then the reference would be, you know, please see appendix blank, you know, to where that is. Anything you guys want to see? Did I miss anything? You can also, if we miss it and get up and started, we can always, come back. We have to update, how we changed, currently what's in it, attendance at games, we changed it, but we didn't change it in here, that has to be updated, how you guys changed that for later year selection, that has to be updated, cause it references and old stuff.
So if we make changes next month, we're gonna be sending stuff out for like back to school packets. So if we don't make decisions, I'm just wondering how that will work.
If you don't make decisions, we go off what we had in the past. We can, radical changes to valedictorian type status, sometimes takes you 4 years. Cause you have something in place and then a kid starts ninth grade accumulating those things and, but you can make changes along the way. I'm also gonna sit down with Sarah I'm not a big fan of us printing out a bunch of these and sending them home. I'd rather send a letter that says, please look at it online, have Laura put it online, and then have them, require them to sign that they've read it, and, see whether they do or not is.
I would say 90% of them that get sent home don't even make it out of milk.
I agree, and it's a lot of. What's that?
Yeah, I
They just
definitely think
sent,
do not send them away.
No,
Yeah.
and I think just like a one page, like, hey, these are the sections that
Big
had
changes, yeah,
changes.
yeah.
You can go online to read them,
Yeah.
sign that letter.
Oh, yeah, that would be
But for
good too.
those that
Yeah.
maybe don't, I know.
Or if,
For new
if,
students.
Olivia, if we don't change something, but like we wanna come back, current status is in, but, changes are pending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so, if it's just like something radical that you want me to come back with, yeah, I'm fine with that. We did look, we had this discussion and we go, okay, we're gonna have to roll this in over 4 years because, I had a valedictorian one year. I was nervous. He took 15 AP tests. We didn't offer 15 different AP classes. He studied for them on his own. And we probably offered like a variety of like 8 or 9 different ones. And he got 15 5s. So that's the highest score you can get. And so he was our 4.0. He got an 1A minus in shop his like freshman year. And I kid you not, his dad's was the DA, now the judge. Very good friend of mine. His dad still wants to argue his A minus, and I go, like, it's good. But the salutatorian in that year had she had a B someplace along the way. But had she not had like that 1B, it would have been a co. But he had that 1A minus, which was, not in one of our academic core classes. And she was a great kid, hard worker, super good kid. But she was the queen of A minuses. She just would slip in there. And I just go, this is probably the brightest kid I've ever been in my life. And not only is he bright, he turns into everything on time. He's just not a procrastinator and stuff. And I was going, oh man, this is. Oh, and she manipulated was a bad term. It was just, we had a lot of dual credit classes. And in our FFA program, and the one boy wasn't in the FFA program, so they were like Shasta College classes, our local JC, which had a huge ag program. So I'm not saying a dual credit there wasn't the same thing as a 5 on an AP, but as far as the academic rigor, it wasn't. And so she was getting this, and it was just like, if this works out, this is going to be, but. And we also, and I have to be politically correct too, is we have to put in there something like valedictorians. I think you have to be like on our college prep track, diploma track, Well, it's just, it's been tried where students with, significant learning disabilities, you know, are fantastic kids, but that gets a little dicey, looking into some of those things, so I'll look for some language that keeps us in a good spot, but definitely tries to have like the intent of what it's for.
Awesome.
But yeah, shoot at me anything, like if you think of something, please.
Nothing else here? 6:55, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Julie has the first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Favor second, public comment? Board comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Look at that, look how quick we were. I'm so fast.
Good.
Rob, you're pen and everything. You know my damn.
Oh, thank you very much.